Hi guys, welcome back to Deep Talk. I have a very special guest today. You guys told me, you guys gave me feedback, which I've taken. You said you are loving the Deep Talk series, but you would love to have more women achievers. Noted, guys. You said more different fields. Noted, guys. I've got someone from sports. In fact, I've got someone very special who has achieved a lot and we can learn a lot from, but we may not know as much about her. I have with me Tanvi Khanna, who is one of India's top squash players. In fact, she's one of the world's top 100 squash players. And Tanvi is here with me from Delhi. Hi, Tanvi. Welcome to Deep Talk.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to all our interesting discussions here.
Yes. And I must say, Tanvi, thank you for coming. You are probably you are the youngest person I've had on Deep Talk.
Really? I'm not that young. I'm 25.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't have asked that question, but I'm 21. But apart from that, I'm always 21. So you're 25. You're just 25. So thank you for lowering the age for my YouTube channel. But at 25, you've done a lot of things. Guys, she's very, very humble person. You are clearly not doing Instagram much. It is a neglected account.
Yes,
and thankfully so, because of that, you are able to focus on other things. So talk about this. Is it a deliberate strategy to stay away from social media? Because girls from your school, your college, I'm sure you are gone to we'll talk about that with school and all, but people around you must be non-stop on these apps, but you are not.
Yeah. No, I mean, even I've gone through phases where I've been on Instagram, and even if I'm not posting content, even just spending so many brainless hours scrolling. And when I was younger in college and all, I was very active on Instagram. I used to put photos, but then I don't know, as I matured, I just started becoming more conscious of how that is impacting me. Once I put the phone down, that heaviness stays in you. So it's not just once you use the app, you use Instagram, okay, whatever, you spend 20 minutes on it. It's just not that. It's afterwards, how it leaves you. And I found, even other than as a squash player, of course, I want to be 100% focused. I want to be ready for my sessions. But even as a human being, I want to feel other things. I want to process my life in a more fulfilling way. And I found that posting and doing all of that constantly leaves me feeling heavy and not satisfied. So it was more of personal choice where I was not being able to find a balance. Once I post something, I'm curious to know who liked it, who commented, and it was just not leaving me feeling satisfied or happy. So yeah.
It begins a cycle. एक बार आपने पोस्टिंग चालू कर दिया, let's say put a post, now you want to see इसने like किया, इसने पिछली बार किया था, अब नहीं किया, पिछली बार 50 likes आए थे, इस बार 35 आए हैं. You're saying that cycle, even that, I mean, elaborate a bit more. Even that can distract your brain.
Yeah, and you become addicted to it. You get that small kick in your head, like that dopamine kick, that okay, now pick up the phone, and you start depending on that then to feel happy. You start depending on it, and it's that vicious cycle like you're mentioning. Ki kisne ye kiya, wo kiya, and your other hobbies get neglected. And I saw one of your videos where you were talking about reading and just how going through a whole book nowadays, people, they can't do that. They can't read for 10 minutes at a straight without looking at their phone. So similarly, other activities, you get into that flow state when you don't have all these distractions of posting and this and that. And so just, I feel to optimize my mental health and to be in a state where I am maximizing on my satisfaction and my contentment throughout the day, I can't be someone who's engaging too much in social media.
So tell me, when Tanvi was 8, 9, 10 years old, what was she like? कहाँ पे थे आप? स्कूल कौन सा था? अच्छे थे, पढ़ाई में बेकार थे, इंट्रोवर्ट थे, एक्सट्रोवर्ट थे, मजाक करते थे, कैसे थे आप? And then how did this squash racket or whatever racket came in your hand? I think you played some other game before.
Yeah, I played tennis, but my father was a very good squash player.
Okay.
So me and my sister, just we're a very sporty family in general. My parents always.
But your father is not a professional. He works somewhere.
He was a national level player.
Okay.
Picked up the sport very late. He was very, very great, very good at all sports. So yeah. So just following in his footsteps. Even my mother was a national level swimmer. So the whole atmosphere in our house was that go out and play games. Go out and play
आपके घर में
games.
सबको पसीना आया रहता है हर वक्त.
Yeah.
You know,
Now,
everybody is tired and everybody is like, आज तो like wow.
not like that.
हाँ.
But so even when I was a kid, like if I
That's
look at
awesome
my,
actually.
if I look at
I
my,
really wish I had a family like that. I mean, I love my family and I love growing up. But most Indian families जैसे पढ़ाकू families आपको बहुत मिल जाएंगी.
yeah.
पढ़ाकू
So
families तो
my parents always said, do one thing, but be good at it. So if you're good at squash, then we are fine with average grades.
wow.
Yeah. So that was very nice. There was not much pressure on me as a kid. So that way I could put the pressure on myself. Because I knew my parents are giving me all the opportunity. So then the onus was on me to perform and all of that. But as a young kid, I was like any other kid. I remember reading my diary in which I've written, I love dogs, I love candy, and I love sports. It was just pure, like no complication.
Okay. So the first time you played squash was when?
The first time I played squash was, I guess, when I was about 9 or 10 years old. And then I played a tournament and I won that tournament in Delhi. So that was like, oh wow, like you can do this seriously, you know. And from there, actually, it was really rough because I struggled for a long time to kind of break into top 2 in India. I was
okay,
always
how does it happen? Yeah, tell us how it happens for a new player.
So
let's say somebody new wants to play squash and so they will go play a local tournament. I say, how do you get to those national ranks or whatever?
Yeah, so now it's actually amazing because there are many tournaments throughout the year. When I was younger, it was a little lesser, but the idea is the same. You play like I think 5 or 6 tournaments in a year. And in those, I feel like in order to be top 8 in India, you have to kind of reach the quarterfinals or semifinals of most of these events. And then top 2 would be people who are winning or reaching the finals. So it's pretty straightforward. But the ultimate thing I feel like for any kid performing is to win the nationals. That is like glory. Like everyone is like so motivated to win the nationals. So even if your ranking is like 4 or 5, when you go for that nationals at the end of the year or whatever, every kid's aspiration is to kind of win it.
Okay. And then, but when did you develop this aspiration? Ki yaar, I can be in the nationals. Like you don't, every kid plays, a lot of kids play, but they don't think yaar mujhe national rank mein aana. Ye aapke man mein kab se?
I don't know. I just had this attitude that I have to give it my best at every session. And then in my head was that if I'm training so hard and giving it my best, then I should be, my dreams should also be, should match up to that because I'm training so hard. So why should I not be performing so well when I'm playing these tournaments? But one big thing is that I feel like, of course, I mentioned earlier, I feel like there was a real shortage of coaches when I was growing up and I didn't have the right guidance. But B is also, a lot of people mistake, they think that, just because they're playing well in practice, they'll be able to perform the same way in a tournament. But in a tournament, there is a lot of pressure and it's a completely different stage. So that training, that mental aspect of it is, I feel like, where I fell short. And I see athletes all over the world, even the ones competing on much higher stages than me. And that's where you realize actually 60 to 70% of the game itself is mental. And it's how you hold yourself on those big occasions.
Yeah. What was, when you say, when I'm training so hard, I might as well achieve something? Couple of questions pop in my head. One is, when you say training hard, what is your training routine? Even now, when you're normal and you're in a training week before a tournament, walk us through your day. What will it be like?
So, wake up around 7 and I'll have my breakfast and quick shower and then head over to the gym. Then there'll be like a 2-hour strength and conditioning session, or it could include some bike sprints or a circuit. So that'll be pretty tough. And then I'll
so
come
like a
home
2-hour hardcore hit type, high intensity training.
Yeah, of
in
course
the
it
gym.
won't be for the whole 2 hours, but it'll be like, there'll be a little bit of stretching before and after. There'll be a little bit of isolated strength and conditioning exercises, and then the intensity part will be like half an hour, the high intensity.
Okay.
So yeah, the total thing will be about 2 hours, and then I come home, eat another snack or a little lighter, heavier breakfast depending on how I feel. Take a nap, have my lunch, and a quick coffee or something, and then head over to the squash courts around 1:30, and then another 3.5, 4 hours or 3 hours, sometimes 2 hours, basically, and then come home. So roughly about 4 to 5 hours a day of training. Yeah.
And then in the evening, are you free or do you do
Yeah,
something
so I
else?
come home around 5 or something, and then after that I'm not. Earlier last year we had like twice a week also, we had like another session running and all in the evening, but it was getting too much, so now it's just 2 sessions a day.
Tell me something, since this is deep talk, I'll ask you something. You know, sports in India, it's like cricket and then there's the rest.
Yeah.
Right? Cricket is like at a different level of attention, money, revenue. And then there are a couple of others now. There's a little bit more happening, but first, cricket is still the big daddy in the room. And when you were playing squash, right? Did people say, "Ye kya khel rahi hai?" And did you know, like it's from a career point of view, like a typical career, and it looks like your parents are super supportive. So that is amazing. You're very lucky, and that's all you need ultimately. But did you find people saying ye kya kare, or did you feel ki yaar this doesn't have potential, or like or do you do it for the love of the game? I know I'm going deep in this because I want to bring out that sometimes the reasons for doing things are different from what people would think they are.
Yeah, for sure. So when I was in college, I felt a lot of pressure to follow that straightforward path that everyone was in. You know, whatever your degree is, you find a job related to that, try and earn money, you try and stay back in the US, get that job. So then when I actually chose to say, no way, I want to become a professional squash player because that's what I love, I did find that a lot of people were no one ever outright says it to your face, but they look to you very skeptically, like, oh, so who's going to support you? And like all these questions start coming. But what I did find was that people my age were very supportive, despite not following a similar path. But with the older generations is where they kind of start questioning you a little more because they're a little more orthodox in the way they're thinking. And I don't think it's with squash in general. I just feel like with sports, it's how people approach sports in India. You know, from a young age, it's very rare that you find parents supporting kids to play sports and pursuing it professionally. It's generally just to get into college. And that is a big reason why I feel like in squash in India, we lose out on a lot of players because no one is looking at it professionally. They're all looking at it as an avenue to get into an Ivy League and go study there. So I just feel like the whole way we approach sports is very limiting. And if you look at Egypt, where the best players are being produced, they don't think about, oh, we have to go to college or this or that. Since they're kids, they have that passion in their belly where they're like, we want to be a world champion, and they train like that. So the approach is very different in India versus, I would say, a lot of these other countries where these champions are coming out of in squash.
So if you're a parent of a, I don't know, 12-year-old daughter today or 14-year-old daughter today, right? And those parents come to you and say, Tanvi, and I know you're not a counselor or whatever, but if you were to say, Tanvi, okay, how can we make a daughter like you? Whether or not sports or whatever, right? It doesn't have to be squash. It could be, how can we make her like you in terms of her focus, in terms of her priorities, in terms of her work ethic, whatever.
I would say, okay.
What would you say?
Lead by example. Like you as a parent need to be someone who your kid looks up to, and they see how focused you are. They don't see you engaging in like these frivolous, superficial, pretentious societal activities. Number one. So that's the whole thing as parents, as role models. Number two is being super loving and caring towards your kid. So when you're giving your kid everything emotionally that they need, they're becoming fuller as people and they're becoming more confident. And the third thing is to, I feel, give them opportunities and to push them. Like, and I don't mean push them in an aggressive way where they're not meeting their goals, but like constantly challenge them and look at their all-around growth, not only in one thing like studies. Give them many different activities and hobbies, but it has to be this whole thing. Like, it can't just be one thing. It has to be about the kid's whole life, the way the kid interacts with the parents' friends. Like, my parents always encouraged me and my sister to talk to people, whoever came to the house, older, younger. It's not just it. Being a parent is a full-time job, and you have to realize that everything you do or say is going to rub off on the kid. So you have to be very mindful of how you talk to your children.
You do meditation, you're saying it has changed your life.
Yeah, 100%.
Just 20 minutes a day. So it's a very simple
So
way to meditate, right? Firstly, talk to, why don't you tell people what exactly do you do in the meditation? It's very, very simple. In fact, I've done some heartfulness events, so I'm a little bit familiar, but I'll let you talk about it. And then what exactly do you do in 20 minutes and how has it changed your life?
So, I mean, about 2 years back, 2.5 years back, I met my aunt, and I was just discussing with her about how I'm struggling mentally with squash and being able to perform and stuff like that. And she asked me, "Do you meditate?" And I said, "Yeah, I meditate." And, like most millennials my age, we'll go open some Headspace app or some app and do like 5 minutes here and there. Nothing routine, nothing discipline. And she was very, very good at that time because she had been meditating for a long time, and she explained it so well to me. She said, anything you do in life, you have to do it in a very disciplined and routine manner if you want results. And as an athlete, I'm used to doing things in a structured way, so it was not difficult for me. She said, you need to meditate at preferably the same time every day. And so for me, it started off as right after I wake up in the morning. And you have a heartfulness trainer. So you go to them for sittings every 10 days. You meditate alongside another person. But on your own, it's morning, 20, 30, 40 minutes, whatever you're comfortable with. And evening, there's something called cleaning, which is super important. The morning meditation is just connecting with your heart. So it's centering you for the whole day. After you finish that meditation, you feel almost like your eyes are like the mud is taken off, like your vision, you feel lighter, you feel clearer. But what I really love, other than the morning meditation, is in the evening, there's this smaller meditation, 15 minutes, called cleaning, where you're just saying a suggestion to yourself that everything that happened in the day is leaving my body. So what that ends up doing is that after squash, fitness, I'm so tired. I'm sure I've scrolled on Instagram also, done all kinds of things that I shouldn't be doing. I come home and I'm just not in a mood to connect or talk to anyone else. I'm just bogged down. At that moment when I sit down and do cleaning, and I just visualize everything that's happened leaving my body, it honestly feels like I've just woken up in the morning. I can't tell you how fresh I feel. And that just leaves me so energetic for the rest of the day. So you're not carrying day in and day out, you're not carrying everything that comes into you, all the heaviness, all the emotions I felt, the stress, so many pressures that most people go through on a daily basis. So that just cleans you off all of that. And there's that fresh perspective comes again and again and again. So you're constantly just having a very, very nice, unfiltered perspective towards life every day. And that's the whole crux of meditation, really, is to remove all your biases and prejudices. So other than like my relationships and how it's helped me develop more authentic, better relationships where I'm there for my friends and family, it also really helps me on a squash court, because anytime I notice that I'm getting tense, I'm not accepting what my coach is saying, his criticism, his opinion, or I have certain beliefs about what I can't do or can do, you start noticing the friction within you very easily, because that meditative state becomes so second nature to you. And then you know that this is something within me that I need to resolve. And so it becomes very easy for you to go forward. So many times people are in this very reactive state where an emotion just takes hold of them, and they're not able to realize that now that emotion has just hijacked their body, and they're just responding from that place of that emotion. What meditation does is it shows you right before or when that emotion comes. So you no longer trust in how you're in that feeling or that emotion, and you're not reacting. You take a pause, you accept how you're feeling, and you go back to that neutral state, and then you respond.
What is money to you, Tanvi? What does money mean to you? Because and again, we kind of touched on it. We were going there, but we didn't really go there. Like I said, when cricket is the place where you see IPL players getting crores in their auctions and brand endorsements, and then you play your game and you work just as hard and you win a tournament and everything. And okay, the squash community knows, but the general public will not give as much attention to it. Has it ever bothered you? Does it bother you? Does it not bother you now you're of course a spiritual guru almost, I can see. But I mean, tell me how that has, like, that aspect of it, that how India's approach to certain sports has that ever played in your mind?
I mean, so honestly, squash players have no money at all. Even the ones who are like top 10 in the world really struggle, and it's very sad. And a lot of these people are just supported by their families, like me, or some people have some sponsors, but it's very, very sad, the whole situation, not only in India, but worldwide. But one thing which was just absolutely amazing, and I'm not trying to be very political here, was when I won, we got a silver in the Asian Games.
Mm-hmm.
And we came back to Delhi, and the way our chief minister, Arvind Kejriwal, he literally went to every single person's community and he hosted this huge event where the whole community gathered, and he felicitated us on the stage with our family members. And he really was really generous about how much money he gave to every one of those medal winners. But other than those occasions, like the Asian Games, Commonwealth Games, there's no money. And it is very, very sad. And that's why people who are playing squash are just playing for the passion. And they know that at some level that they're not going to earn much. But it's just they're only doing it for the love and passion.
That's what makes it even more incredible. But like I said, there are these people on Insta who are making money without any accomplishment, and you deserve to make. And I'm hoping I can contribute and people can note that these achievers exist in India. And it's just that we don't, and you have so much. I mean, I learned so much from you, Tanvi. I forget about I doing it for much. I mean, I have learned, I'm going to consider meditation, the things you said about your parents thing, the thing you tell about discipline, things. It's just, it's really, really good in a way that, the way you express yourself. I mean, there's a lot of potential in non-squash things too for you. I mean, Of course you should keep playing squash, but I just feel you should be a little less shy, a little more marketing.
I'm not being shy on this interview.
No, not the, because this is deep talk and here everybody opens up. But I'm just saying, I'll show you. When I started researching you, I'll show you.
Now I'm shy.
I'll show you. There's only one interview of yours on YouTube.
No, I don't
one.
I don't
Okay. No, I'm not going to play that interview. I'm just going to share the screen on, like, this is that interview, and you look like a deer in headlights.
Can I interrupt? Huh? What?
A deer in headlights.
Can I just interrupt you and tell you this was like 3 days after I started heartfulness meditation. And honestly, before this interview, I hated public speaking.
I can tell you it's there, and you're like, what? When is this going to end?
Yeah,
so I was very, very nervous. I said, I'm being super honest. I said at home also, and I said it to my team also. I said, this is going to be a tough one, because I saw that interview and she doesn't talk and she doesn't have anything to say. And now it's like, whoa, okay, is it the same person? Because I think that's a very different you.
Yeah, it was just before. I just started heartfulness, and 3 sittings had just finished. And after that, I just got so much confidence. It's amazing. Yeah.
So the meditation has not just changed your life in terms of your approach to work, it's changed your personality.
It's made me feel really good from within. So every time I'm talking, I'm actually just expressing myself and who I am.
Do you know that this will end one day, squash, 35, 40? I don't know at what age maximum do professional players retire?
I think between 35 and 40.
Wow. Right. So the one good thing about being a writer is you can pretend to be one even at 47 or 57 or 67, right? But for sports, your body...
But you can always give back, even in sports.
Yeah, so you've thought about that day. Does that, or it's too soon?
Yeah.
Still.
No. I'm not worried for it. I'll keep playing still, like for fun. So
Of
it'll always,
course, you'll never leave the game. But I'm talking professional squash rankings and
so I'm
stuff
saying
like
I'll
that.
have that for playing, which will be fun. And then I'm sure like so many people take to coaching afterwards. And if I feel like it's something I'm good at and I'm actually able to give back, then I would love to do that. And
Yes.
I mean, I have all these other interests with like psychology, spirituality, like, you know, motivating kids the way you are motivating so many people. And
you should.
Yeah. So
And I don't
mean,
say it to everyone, but you have that thing. Firstly, you can keep talking like me.
No, so I'm just saying, yeah.
You're Punjabi, right?
Punjabi, Bihari, Gujarati.
How can 3 happen? Okay. One is half. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So you're like 3 states. Okay. Because Tanvi Khanna, yeah. So Punjabis can talk. That half Punjabi will do. That's fine. Bring out that, that inner Punjabi, and we can then, yeah. So you thought about that day and it doesn't bother you. In fact, guys, she is really badly injured right now, which she didn't show because she's smiling all the time. But before this interview started, I told her to just pull the curtains down because the window behind there was a lot of light coming in. And she literally used, what is that?
Walker.
A walker.
Yeah.
And it's here to walk back and did it. And I'm like, what happened to you, man? And then she came back and she's still doing this interview. So that's what it takes, guys, to win in life. And you can win, and you can be happy and smile and stay calm too, like Tanvi, right? Any last thoughts, Tanvi, before we go?
Any last thoughts? No,
what do you want to tell people?
What do I want to tell people? I feel like something that I am currently, the phase I'm in, or was before my injury, with how I was approaching my sports career, was the more relaxed I am, the better I perform, the better I'm able to actually see what all I need to work on, improve. So it's really important that throughout the day you do things that also relax you. And by that, I don't mean like watch TV and stuff, but things that actually make you feel good. Like it could be go for a walk, talk to a friend, paint, write, listen to music, and then kind of use that energy to take it into your work or whatever you're trying to be better at. You don't need to be on throughout the day, you need to find little corners and spaces where you're actually doing things that make you as a person happy, not only you as a squash player, as a businessman, or whatever it is.
So thank you once again. And guys, अगर आप यहाँ तक पहुंच ही गए हो तो इतना भी कर दो यार, just थोड़ा like, share, subscribe, जो भी करोगे थोड़ा YouTube के algorithm को लगेगा हाँ भाई यहाँ कोई बात बनी है. And do leave your comments for Tanvi. You will see all the comments, right?
Yeah.
And she'll reply to a few if she can. I'll try to reply hard as many as I can. And it really we feel good when we see that all this talk we've had is making a difference. That's all. And thank you once again, Tanvi, for coming.
And thank you. And I'm looking forward to reading your book.
Yes, please read now that you are out of action from the squash court. Yeah. You have time to read. So please do.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.